that's that is an awful way to start this. I'm already off to a very bad start. Hey, this is Brooks from the show, and I'm sure you're wondering, hey, where's it been? And the answer to that is kind of kind of complicated. But basically what I'm saying is that the show is kind of gonna be going through some changes because I was like just kind of generally like unsatisfied with it. So I'm just gonna kind of leave it at that. And all four of the guys are finding ourselves getting kind of busier and busier as time is going on, especially me, because I'm starting up a new thing of school and just have like more on my plate than before. So I think before anything else, I'll say if you listened regularly to the show and like what it was before, like in the first sort of 20 episodes of it, I'm going to say a very sincere thank you. We really appreciated you sticking with us there and just kind of tagging along to this fun thing that we do with our friends, which was essentially just an excuse for me to get some of my friends together and for us to all kind of get together and goof off. And it started way back in 2015 with Brooks and Zach 100 Years, the original show. And the thing about it is like we've never had like very much of an audience, very much of a listenership. With that in mind, it means that we don't have a lot of expectations on us of what the show needs to be, and we spent a lot of time trying to figure out like what it even was going to be and like what form it should take. And at this point, seeing it as it doesn't have to be a specific thing because we don't really have an audience to please who are expecting something specific. That means it can be whatever we want and even come out whenever we want. So the first bit of news is that the show is going to be a lot less frequent. It's not going to be weekly. So that's the first big thing. And like the other big thing is like the kind of content of it, of like that sort of setup of like the improv comedy thing. It was a lot of fun and everything, but that's going to be changing up. And that goes hand in hand with the whole lineup thing, which is the other big thing to announce. So what I'm essentially saying is that I kind of like spent a lot of time thinking about the show and everything, and thinking about like all the different things around it. I'm being incredibly vague, and I'm sorry for that, but yeah, just kind of looking at it and coming to the conclusion of where instead of it being this thing where I felt like I had to kind of do it a specific way, like always had to scramble to get everyone together like once a week and everything, and like do this specific kind of like setup, this specific kind of formula. I'm now kind of viewing it in the way of like this can be like, rather than like a show that like I maintain on a weekly basis, this can be like a thing that if I want to do something in a podcast format of like pretty much anything that I want, anything that's that interests me and everything, I can just use the show for that. And I'm saying like a lot of I stuff instead of like a lot of we stuff, because just kind of the kind of reality of the situation that I came to realize was that I feel bad, kind of bad for saying this, because it was very much the four of us coming together and making this thing every week. But I looked at it, and like at the end of the day, I do all the editing. Like I put it up online. I pay to have it be put up online. I've like always kind of been the driving force of it, and the other guys have always been invested in it, but like not nearly invested as I have been, both literally and figuratively, since like I've spent money on this thing and getting it online. So it's kind of becoming like, part of me feels like I'm hijacking it a little. Like I talk to the guys, and the guys talk to each other and everything, and we kind of came to the conclusion that, this isn't so much of a bad thing, and it's not like it's going away entirely, which it is not, but instead it's just kind of becoming another sort of project that I can work on when I can, and when I have something to do for it. Like I know the next one that I want to do is, I'm thinking, like, basically what the show is going to become instead is like a sort of infrequent, instead of this comedy thing that we do on a weekly basis and follow the same formula. Instead, it's going to sort of become this thing of where it every once in a while we'll have an episode, and I'll try to make it as frequent as I can, as frequent as like I have ideas for it. But basically, just if I have something I want to talk about, I'm gonna bring on my friends, and we're gonna talk about it and everything. Cause like I know like to just like give you an idea of what I wanna do. The next one, which I'm actually like kind of trying to put together now, so that we can get it out over the next like few weeks and everything, is an episode about the film Manhunter, which at least Josh and I have talked about a lot on the show, and have been talking about doing this type of thing for a while. So that's gonna be a lot of fun. And then there's also I had an idea. I talked to Connor about it. Connor, who will be on this thing that you're gonna listen to as soon as I'm done, like rambling like an idiot. He and I talked about getting the guys on and doing like kind of a more researched thing about the concept of nostalgia. So yeah, that's kind of like all I really have to say about the new direction of it. What you're about to listen to was an attempt to do like a filler thing, when like what was going to be the recording of the 20th episode kind of like fell through for various reasons. It's me, Liam, and Connor just kind of talking about whatever. I think I even bring up Manhunter and the films of Michael Mann, because we do like this recommendation thing. And like all I really have to say going in is two things. One, the audio quality is pretty bad. We did not realize this until until I started editing it, and I was just like, ooh, don't know what happened here. Well, I know what happened, but like it'll take too long to explain what happened. But just like it's not too long of a thing. Like after along with this intro, it might be a full episode, but it's really not gonna be all that big of a deal. And then the other thing is that I kind of, if you observe, I kind of go into like, or start having the thoughts of like talking about like changing up the show and like having it be this thing where I just kind of do whatever. I don't know how much of that I'm going to keep in, because that is also, much like this intro, very rambly. So there may be some references to that, but basically what I'm saying is thank you for listening to the show up until this point, and I am excited for the places that's going to go. So I hope that you are also excited. All of this has been bad. All right. And now on to the show.
Are you using a new program?
No, I'm still using Audacity.
Okay.
It was
I
just,
can't stand Audacity.
what's wrong with it?
The UI is weird for me.
It works though.
Yeah, but I like Mixcraft.
And it's free.
True.
It's free and it
Mixcraft
works.
like $60.
I don't have those $60. I just
at least
spent
it's not like Adobe where it's like, you can get it, but it's like $50 a month. Yeah, that's awful.
And
Yeah.
I'm like, I would rather die.
If I'm gonna spend $100 on a fucking soundboard to have like my shit sound good, then like you know I'm going to save some money like by just sticking with Audacity and not buying something that's like actually professional.
I used it once and it just confused me, and I like threw it down the toilet and got mad.
See, I had to use it. I had to learn and adapt because I used it when I was a wee child for things, various things, and I didn't know, like, it was really the only thing available to me because it was free and I had no source of income. So, like, I've just been using it for years now.
Did I tell you how I started using Audacity? I used to use it to record covers.
Oh, that's cute.
But were of songs that no one would like know, so I never like would ever post them anywhere other than like this music forum. And at this point in my life, I'm kind of like, I hope those recordings are lost forever.
Yeah, I used to make videos. I used to make, in air quotes, comedy videos, and I hope they're fucking dead.
Yeah. Something happened and like they just got deleted or something. Like some algorithm just went, and they're gone.
Right.
I became actually kind of well known at least within my immediate class and like grade and everything for making stop motion Lego videos. And in recent years, I have ensured that they are lost forever. I have destroyed those files. I have burned all of them down, and they're gone. Now look, there they go. There they go. They're gone.
Forever.
Like anyone, like my parents, or I know my friend Andrew was also a big fan of them and everything, and always like would be sad whenever I talk about them negatively. But like, sorry, like that the memory in your head of what you like remember them being. That's better. Like that's like 10 times better than like actually watching them. So be thankful that I destroyed them, so that there's never an instance of where that image of it in your mind is like will have to be destroyed, because that would be a far more violent and cruel death. Would be the death of those.
Disappointment.
Exactly. So now I can. I was gonna say I've moved on to bigger and better things like this.
Are we recording?
We've been recording. We're now gonna do.
I didn't even know we were gonna be like. I thought we were gonna be like, hello.
That's why it's a cold open.
Okay.
Yeah. Welcome to Friends by Default, the not a real one, not today.
It's a crossover episode.
Yay!
It's kind of a crossover, kind of a mini-sode, kind of a whoops, fucked up kind of thing. My name is Brooks Vernon. I am the host and co-creator of this show. Over to my left is...
I'm Liam Wallace. I'm your sound engineer, your co-host, and your co-creator.
And across from me is a very special guest. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Hey, everybody. It's me, Connor, from You'll Like 'Em, that other show that...
Yes, that I've made appearances on.
Yeah, Brooks has been on. Liam has cameoed on.
Have I?
In the background.
Oh, yeah, right.
Like when we recorded the
Killers
thing, and you're like seeing stuff in the background, and we're asking you about the porn on your computer.
Yeah.
It's not porn, it's just...
It was tasteful nudes.
Yes, it was like, yeah.
It was...
glamour shots.
Porn. It was pornography. So, yeah. For a lot of different reasons. Too many to name. Some of them are a little apparent from listening to my voice and how tired I am, but also just from like listening and seeing that some usual hosts are not here. We've decided to dedicate this short little mini-sode. We are going to spend just recommending things that you can enjoy in place of Friends by Default, the show, and everything. And what'll probably happen is the show itself is probably going to go to a bi-weekly thing. So stay tuned for more announcements on that as we sort of figure that out.
It's hard,
Yeah.
Because for you'll like 'em, we did bi-weekly at first. Well, we recorded the first episode in February, and then it never got released till about like June, July, and so we had that, and then we decided we tried to be more ambitious. We were like, all right, let's put something out every week, and then it was like 1 week it would be the full episode, then it'd be like the retrospective or like the mini episodes of my favorite stuff, and then maybe it would be another full length episode. And it's with Yaskovich's schedule and my schedule going to be changing a bit. It's just been hard to find that time. So that's why the uploads. So anybody who listens to You'll Like 'Em or knows what You'll Like 'Em is, if you check out the episodes, like there have been like large gaps between episodes, and that's just because we've been so busy and we're trying. Please, oh my God, we're trying.
For me, it's like I've been catching up on a different show that is weekly and has a lot more episodes. And like the thing about the podcast app is I can like get a queue going, so I just have all the episodes of that, and then I just like sprinkle in all the other shows that I need to catch up on. So for me, it's just like I'm just looking through. I'm like, oh, You'll Like 'Em. I'm gonna put this in the queue with the rest, and like it's just been slowly like building. I think there's like 2 or 3 there now, and like so.
You're not up to date.
I'm not up to date currently.
Fucking fear.
I
love you, Brooks. I'm just kidding.
just be thankful I'm putting them in that queue. They can do you know how quickly an unsubscribe button can be pressed?
Oh yeah, I do.
Oh, hang on.
I do know, because we have 9 followers. Oh.
That's another thing. It's just like, yeah, like when you have a small audience and like you can't make it full time, and it's hard to and like this is not a knock against anyone specifically. Like we're all adults and we have like adult lives and adult schedules that like when something isn't Liam, I'm not really speaking to you. I'm just saying that like when something isn't really like yielding a lot of like tactile kind of benefits, and you're more just kind of doing it for like the love of it and the fun of it, then like it's hard for it to be a priority for some people.
Yeah.
Like, and like again, this is not like a call out, because like I love Zach and Josh both very dearly. It's just like for them, it's like a fun thing that they do, and like if like they're adults and they have their own lives and everything, so like there's times when like even if they want to do the show, like they just can't and everything. And so like that, Connor, you understand this because you have your own show that you like edit and is your baby, so like you understand where I'm coming from when like I say stuff like you put like just like kind of so much into it that it's like, you know,
it is it's hard, and I love the show, and I love doing the show with Yaskovich, and then but when like we can't get stuff out, I feel disappointed in myself for not planning ahead more and like figuring stuff out, and working towards maybe, okay, even if Yaskovich don't and I can't meet up this week, I can still have something to put out there. So
right.
I do procrastinate a lot, and now that I'll be going to college in the fall, like, finding time for that is going to be a bitch.
For me, I'm starting to think, like, and I'm kind of going more and more towards this and everything, of where, Friends by Default has always been like so nebulous and everything, and like with the YouTube channel had been kind of dormant for a bit, just kind of like getting the automatic uploads of the show.
Yeah.
And now I'm sort of getting towards a space where like I can kind of create different things on my own, and I kind of just like do whatever I want. I was just talking to Liam about it, how like I've like put up the short film that I made last semester, and I've put up 2 pieces of music, and I have like other videos and stuff that I'm just gonna start using it for like whatever I want, and I can very easily see Friends by Default becoming that, where like, well, fuck a regular schedule. Like, I'll just, if I have an idea for something I want to do, I'll get some boys together and I'll do it, and then like the definition of what Friends by Default is could even become even more nebulous. But that's just me talking about whatever. And like this is not going to be a full episode. We're already at the 11-minute mark. I'm gonna probably cut out the stuff about me being like sad and like very like blunt about the state of the podcast. Instead, we're gonna recommend some stuff for you to check out in place of a full episode of Friends by Default.
Yay!
So I still need to choose something. So Connor, why don't you start us off, and then we'll swing around to me.
Okay. Well, I'm just gonna give a quick couple. This is probably gonna go up before the episode that you and I did, Brooks. At this point, but on the episode that Brooks did of You'll Like 'Em, I spoke about this band Pond. They're an Australian band. Who are, if anybody here who listens has heard of Tame Impala, it's they're very close knit group, those Australian psychedelic bands, and Tame Impala and Pond have members that are in both bands, and Pond's really cool because it's this kind of psychedelic rock, psychedelic pop kind of stuff. So like the really early stuff's more like weird psychedelic stuff. It's almost like this other psychedelic band called Gong, which got off on them. This would be like 3 hours long.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't start on Gong.
But the most recent album, The Weather, that Pond put out, has a song on it called 2 songs on it that I really love. The first one being called "Sweep Me Off My Feet," which is this really nice sounding song. I like to jam to it a lot. It's slowly becoming like one of my all-time favorite songs, and I've just discovered it within like the last couple of weeks. It's crazy. Like, I love music. Can have that much power, and just a couple seconds. Anyway, then the next song is called "Paint Me Silver," which is another really nice kind of mellow song. It's fun to listen to. And then, real quick, the other thing I would like to recommend to you guys musically is another band. Weird name, but they are called King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. They are another Australian psychedelic rock band. I'd like to thank Ewan for showing me both of them. He's big into that Australian psych scene. But they're a little more experimental than Pond. Pond are going in a more Tame Impala route, but they're also, I'm going to say they're a little better than Tame Impala.
A little bit.
I still like Tame Impala, but like Pond are just nicer, like sounding, I think. But King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard is a little more experimental, going to more like the weird psychedelic area and like the more progressive rock area, which is just kind of a bit more out there than most rock you would hear. And
they're far more chaotic than.
Oh yeah,
and I like that. I like that a lot.
They use microtonal instruments, which is essentially like manipulating an instrument by putting like stuff in between the strings and the frets to like change the pitch slightly, so you're hitting different notes. And that's how I understand it. That's what you explained it to me.
That's interesting. And
then their album, it's called "I'm in Your Mind Fuzz," is currently my favorite by them. It's a really like the first like I'd say 4 tracks like segue into each other and kind of make this big like music suite, and it's great. And then the song "Am I in Heaven" is fucking awesome. It's like this 7-minute jam they do, and it's great. But you all should go listen to Pond and King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard, and there's hundreds and hundreds and thousands of other songs, bands, albums, artists that I can recommend to you. If y'all come over and listen to, you'll like them.
There you go. Nice
Nice.
little plug there.
Yeah.
There you go.
Ending on a plug.
Yeah.
You're very professional.
Yeah.
Liam, I have my stuff, but we'll still like do the swing around. So why don't you take us up next? I think you only have one thing to talk about.
I'll talk about two things. First off, I really want to recommend a band. Connor's smiling because I've been listening to him nonstop for the past like fucking week and shoving them down his throat.
It's not a bad thing. They're a good band. Like I'm
Yeah.
not like, oh god, this band again.
I'll probably talk about him more on his show if I'm ever a guest. But
If,
Always.
of course.
For a second, I was
always welcome.
I was gonna make the joke of like if I'm ever invited.
But
The only person I feel bad for is Spencer keeps asking me to come on,
yeah,
and it's to the point now where he thinks just because I haven't like asked him to come on that I don't want him on, and it's just because like I'm trying to figure out the fucking schedules
Right.
between me and Yaskovich. But
Just have him on the next thing.
That's what I might do. I might get like a couple episodes if Yaskovich can't do it, and just invite people over.
Yeah,
Like,
just
come talk about like a band or someone you
Just
like.
give Yaskovich a bit of a break and have him on like a series of guests.
Yeah, I might just do that. But I've also promised some people from work. Brooks and I work together. Excuse me, at the movie theater near us, and we have a bunch of friends that work there who've said they want to come on the show. So I thought we would have like a big boys' night and record, but we'll see what happens with that. Anyway, sorry.
Before I was so rudely interrupted,
I'm sorry.
I'd like to recommend the band Foxing. They have a new album coming out on August 10th, called Near My God, and they've released 3 singles off of it. One's called Near My God, one's called Slapstick, and one's called Game Shark. And all of them are fantastic.
They fucking slap.
Yeah. Game Shark is not their usual sound, and he sings in falsetto the entire time. But the lead singer, Connor Murphy, sounds amazing, and he's attractive, and he's a good actor, and I wish I was him. For my second recommendation, I'm going to go ahead and recommend something probably everyone's heard about, but may be reluctant to see for whatever reason.
Not great scores online.
Not great scores online.
Although it seems like it's been doing well, at least at our theater. It's been doing well.
Christopher Robin. It's a good family movie. I'm a 23-year-old man with no children, no girlfriend, none of that, and I went with friends the first time and went by myself today, and I loved it both times. It's a heartwarming film. It's Winnie the Pooh, of course, which is something like everyone dealt with as a kid.
Yeah.
What's his name? Something Cummings.
Jim Cummings.
Jim Cummings is in it. He plays the Winnie the Pooh and Tigger and everything.
He's the official voice of Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah,
and
so
Tigger.
he's Winnie the Pooh and Tigger, so it still reminds you of your childhood, and he does such a great job.
Yeah.
Ewan McGregor plays Christopher Robin as an adult, and he is fantastic in the movie.
His wife is played by Peggy Carter, Haley Atwell, and she's good in it.
Yeah, she does very well. There's conflict in it that's not too spooktastic for the kids. It's just kind of like, what are they going to do next? And they do it next. They keep your interest and they keep your heart, and it's just a great feel-good movie. It's like me being the person I am and being a sad little sad boy all the time. I watch that movie and I feel so much better afterwards. It's like I wish I could take it in pill form every morning. It's just the best.
Yeah, it's a real good movie. It's a real cute movie, and I mean, there's like for kids would love it. Like it's got like the kind of silly comedy, and then it's got like slapstick and stuff like that, and then like for adults, it's cute. Like you watch, it's more. It is more for adults. I would almost say.
Yeah, it's more for the people that watched Winnie the Pooh as a kid and grew up, just so they're watching and they go, "Holy crap! I forgot what a heffalump was." And they're talking about heffalumps. That's right.
You're singing along with like the Tigger song.
The Tigger song comes on, and you're like, "Oh my god! I'm singing along with this. I've been saying this since I was 5 years old."
Yeah, it's a real good movie for like people who like are young at heart, and like people who it's about kind of being okay to be like a little more relaxed in life. You don't always have to be like fucking intense and stuff like that.
Like they say over and over in the movie, sometimes nothing leads to the very best of something, and that really like warmed my heart because I do nothing all the time. Pooh also says in the movie, some people say nothing is impossible, but I do nothing every day, and that's just, I love that.
Yeah, that's great. And last but not least,
No, it's least.
Oh, bro.
oh no,
I'm going to be recommending the films of Michael Mann,
ooh,
one of my favorite directors. Specifically, a set of 4 different films that I've seen and that I think display a very wide range of ability that he is capable of as a director. And I'm just going to go through them chronologically. We have his debut feature film, Thief, starring
I didn't know
James
that was
Caan.
his debut.
Yeah, it's his debut. He directed some stuff before that, some short films, some TV stuff. He was a producer on some things, and I think he made he directed like a TV movie before then. But Thief was his first feature film that he directed.
He got
Anyway.
James Caan and Tangerine Dream to work on that film.
Yes, he
That's
got.
funny.
The cast includes James Caan and Willie Nelson and Jim Belushi.
Willie Nelson.
Willie Nelson's the old guy.
That's right. Oh,
Yeah.
I've seen part of it. I haven't seen the whole thing.
Thief. The thing that I like about Thief is that you see, and this is like sort of sets a precedent for a lot of Michael Mann movies. When you think of Michael Mann, like even with his name and like the kind of movies that people associate with him, you think that it's just going to be like this kind of like stupid, like kind of like macho action type of thing, like really like kind of like meathead kind of movies and everything. But he is very much not really about that, and I think the precedent is set with Thief because in it, James Caan plays a character who is very much that kind of like macho kind of guy.
Would you say he's a macho man? That he would like to be a macho man?
Stop it.
Basically, what happens in the film is that you find out that whole kind of shtick, like a lot of things in his life, is just a front that he puts up because of some horrible things that have happened to him and some trauma that he's dealing with. And there's like a scene, it's one of the best scenes I've seen in any movie, at least the best, like one of the best written ones, where they're like he's in a diner with this lady that he wants to date and everything. And it starts out kind of the way you would expect, of where like he's kind of like in the scene before it, like he shows up to a place and like that she's at, and she doesn't really want him there, and he kind of like drags her off and everything, and you expect this to kind of go a certain way, but then when they're talking in the diner, they actually like bond over their shared kind of like horrible things that happen to them. And that's the first scene when you find out that James Caan, like his character, he plays this thief, this professional thief, who has this front as like a car salesman and everything, and he's like trying to get like one last job before he can get out and everything. And he illustrates this to her, and the way that James Caan plays it throughout the movie, there's just so much pain behind it. It's like honestly one of the best lead performances I've seen in any movie. Of like every single action he takes is like there's so much like layering behind it.
Yeah, I like James Caan. He was excellent in The Godfather. And
He's great.
And from what I saw in Thief, I really liked him in that. In fact, even what's his name? Jim Belushi's really good at it.
Yeah,
too.
Jim Belushi's a really good actor. He's also in Twin Peaks: The Return, and I really like him a lot in that. He has a very funny part that he plays in The Return. And then we segue into not the next movie he made, because I still need to see that one, because that one's like has a whole history behind it, is a huge mess. But the one he made after that, maybe one of the best movies ever made by someone, but like I didn't come to this conclusion until after I'd seen this movie like 2 or 3 times. It's that kind of movie where like the first time you see it, it doesn't exactly click, but then like when you see it again, you're just like, oh my.
That's like what you said last night about Bo Burnham's early stuff. So
Yeah.
I had to like watch it a couple times, and you're like, oh my god.
Yeah, it takes a while to get it.
Yeah.
But he does that on purpose.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I mean,
so
like,
did Michael Mann.
I mean, a lot of artists do that on purpose. Like, I love Edgar Wright because he does that, of where, like, if you want to watch a film like Shaun of the Dead or Hot Fuzz, like, there's so many jokes, like, jokes upon jokes upon jokes that, like, you can't catch everything the first viewing, and I love that. Because I think revisiting stuff is, like, important whether or not it has that.
I agree. I just think when you do it too much, like, I like Bo Burnham. I like his stand-up. It's great. But with his early work, he did it so fast and so many jokes upon jokes upon jokes upon jokes upon jokes that you had to watch it like 12 times before you were finally like, I think I got everything.
Fair point. Now, shut up, because we're talking about Manhunt. We're talking.
Ouch!
I don't.
Liam, here's some water for that burn.
Oh, thank you.
I only say that because we're approaching 30 minutes on a thing I wanted to be like 15 minutes. And I want to talk about Manhunter. Manhunter's amazing. It's an amazing movie.
I still need to watch it.
And
Same.
it is the first adaptation of the novels of Thomas Harris, who is famous for writing novels featuring the character of Hannibal Lecter, and like that would really catch on with a later movie called Silence of the Lambs, which is also great. But Manhunter is not. No one liked it when it came out. It made zero monies. And it's probably like one of the best films I've ever seen. Just like the color of it, the empathy that flows through the story, the fact that so much is done visually instead of like through like blocks of like dialogue and everything, and how it's just a beautiful movie.
Yeah.
And I'm just blown away every time I see it.
Did you ever watch, years and years and years ago, back when he wasn't a cunt, Doug Walker?
Yes.
Did you ever watch his video on Manhunter versus Red Dragon?
I watched that before I knew what Manhunter was or who Michael Mann was, and I am so thankful that almost all of Doug Walker's work is extremely forgettable, because I had completely forgotten everything he said about Manhunter when I eventually watched it and everything, or else it might have painted my viewing of it. Because the man, a lot of his kind of readings on film is just kind of bizarre, because he said that Red Dragon, which is a terrible, terrible movie, was better than Manhunter. And, like, he said it was, like, a better, like, visual-looking movie or something, and Manhunter's beautiful, and Red Dragon looks like ass, and is directed by a sex pervert.
Yeah.
Brett
Ratner's a piece of shit.
Brett Ratner's a terrible person. Michael
And
Mann...
a terrible director.
And a terrible director, too.
Has he ever made a good movie? He
Depends.
has to have made a movie that's at least somewhat redeemable.
It depends on how you feel about the Rush Hour movies.
I like Rush Hour 1.
Then you like a Brett Ratner film.
Oh, okay.
So
Oh no.
so anyway, I don't
I
really.
like it because Jackie Chan says the N-word in that movie.
Oh, that's
Do you remember that scene?
I don't.
He goes up, he sees Chris Tucker go in, and he says, "How's it going?" And then Jackie Chan walks up to the bartender and, in his heavy accent, says the exact same thing to the bartender. The bartender's like, "Excuse me?" And they all start to try and beat the shit out of him, but then because it's Jackie Chan,
Okay, so
But
it was more of like a...
That's a very specific reason for liking that movie.
That's all. I think that scene's hilarious.
I mean, it sounds funny.
Yeah, I think that scene's hilarious. And
But anyway...
I think the movie's pretty funny for the most part. I think it's like an excellent piece of cinematic, whatever.
No. Okay, so now to get through these faster, like, okay, so
Sorry, we keep getting carried away.
this is gonna. I'm probably just gonna, like, if Friends by Default does end up just becoming like me, just kind of talking about whatever I want and it coming out whenever I want it to, I'm probably gonna be like, hey, Liam, Connor, I'm gonna sit you down. We're gonna watch these Michael Mann movies, and we're gonna do an episode just talking about Michael Mann.
Okay, that sounds good.
That's what that's gonna
I
be.
want to watch Manhunter.
Manhunter's so good.
I want to finish Thief, and I want to watch The next one.
The next one is Last of the Mohicans.
Okay, I was going to say the next one.
Last of the Mohicans is a great movie. It's not his strongest film,
Yeah.
but it is so good.
Is that DDL in it?
It does have DDL in
Okay,
it.
I was wondering.
Yeah,
What the fuck is DDL?
Daniel Day-Lewis.
Oh, okay.
he does a good job.
Lewis Day, comma Daniel.
And it's like I'm too tired to form words, but like Michael Mann, a guy who made like a couple like crime things, and at that point was probably more famous for being like a producer on Miami Vice than like actually being a director, like got this like his chance to like tell like this sweeping, very like romantic, and I mean romantic both in the sense of like romance, but also in the sense of like the romantic literature and stuff, but very romantic type of movie set in the colonial days of Maryland, not Maryland, fucking America. The days of colonial Maryland during the French and Indian War, and it's so
Maryland again.
days of colonial America during the French and Indian War, and it's so beautiful. But we can't talk about it because his next movie was even better. It was a movie he was trying to make for years, and he kind of made a version of it for TV, but we don't talk about that one because it's Heat. Heat is like, okay, so there's only like a couple good 3-hour movies, and Heat is one of them. Heat is...
The other's Amadeus.
Amadeus, Seven Samurai, and Heat are the only good movies either close to 3 hours or over 3 hours, because like at that point, like, just stop.
What about Blade Runner?
Huh?
What about Blade Runner 2049?
That one's good.
What was the Lord of the Rings? Was it Return of the King?
I think Return of the King was.
They're on the list too. Okay. I'm trying to get through this so I can go to bed early.
All right. We'll stop.
Watch Heat. It's an epic film in every sense of the word, but also like tells like a small, like it does what every epic should be, which is a small scale story told epically, and it's beautiful. Like all of his movies are beautiful. It's just so much beauty in every frame. Al Pacino does a great performance. He yells at Hank Azaria from the Simpsons man. Yeah. He yells at him, and it's great. And
Azaria looks confused.
And Robert De Niro plays like a weird man who like has literally nothing in his life except his job, and he like doesn't know how to function properly. So when he actually meets like someone he falls in love with, it's very good.
I love Robert De Niro.
Robert De Niro's great. Al Pacino's great. They're great in this film. It has a fantastic cast of those men we mentioned, along with
I can't remember.
Val Kilmer.
That's him.
And John Voight and Tom Sizemore.
Which one's Tom Sizemore?
Tom Sizemore is the one guy from Saving Private Ryan who's done a lot of drugs. Is also in Twin Peaks: The Return and does a very good job of it. Both serial killers from both of the fucking good Hannibal movie adaptations are in this film.
Brian Cox and
no, not Brian Cox. I mean Ted Levine, Buffalo Bill, and Tom Noonan, the Tooth Fairy.
Oh, okay.
Buffalo Bill from Silence of the Lambs and the Tooth Fairy from Manhunter are both in this film, along with William Finkner, the Dennis Haysbert, who did all the Allstate commercials, who's like a really good character actor, Natalie Portman, like I said, Hank Azaria, Danny Trejo, Henry Rollins. Henry Rollins is in Heat, and he's very good. Yeah. I think he has a very small part, but I don't remember. I'm just looking at the IMDb list. Anyway, those are the movies I recommend because Michael Mann is a beautiful filmmaker who it's interesting because normally you'd criticize someone for not really having a lot of female like leads in his filmography, but like Michael Mann gets a pass because his films are actually about examining modern masculinity and like the pitfalls of that, and how that's kind of like a cage for a lot of people. And he's really good at it. It's all so fucking good. I'm so tired. I am so fucking tired.
Oh,
I just love Michael Mann so much. This has been a horrible, like you guys actually said like interesting good things that would make people want to consume the media that you recommended, and I have not done that at all with Michael Mann. But please, trust me.
Yeah, you did.
Listen,
I wanna
watch
watch it.
Watch
Yeah,
his
I want
films.
to watch Heat. I want to see Al Pacino yell, "Great ass!" and Hank Azaria.
Heat is so fucking good. Like Heat is one of those movies where I watch it, I'm like, how does a human being make something this fucking good?
That's how I feel when I listen to You by Gong.
And on that note,
On that note, it's over. We're gone.
No more
Bye.
Gong. No more Gong.
FBDpod@gmail.com is the email. Subscribe on iTunes. Tell a friend about it. The show's probably going to be going through some very seismic changes in its DNA, so we can't say that it uploads on every Monday regularly because that's dead. That's no.
what are you doing? Why aren't you using your stand?
I wanted to hold the microphone. Also, check out You'll Like 'Em, podcast that I do with Yaskovich, where we talk about music, and we also talk about a bunch of other stuff. But we give out recommendations every episode with groups and bands and songs and albums that we think you guys would like. So check us out, please. For the love of Christ, check us out. You can find us on iTunes, we're on SoundCloud, and we're even on Libsyn now. Connor and Josh's You'll Like 'Em podcast. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Have a wonderful evening.
Bye.